The NFL schedule for 2023 has officially been released, and it's time for me to react to every matchup on the Week 1 schedule, and not only react and give you my thoughts on each matchup and what I'm most excited for in each game, but also my way too early game picks for week number 1 of this season. If that sounds good, don't forget to spike the like button and subscribe to the channel. We have a lot more schedule content coming out, including my record prediction for every team in the NFL. Also, let me know in the comment section below which game has you the most pumped for week 1 of this season. Now it's time for me, for the very first time, to see the week 1 schedule. Let's go. Here we are, the week 1 schedule. The opener I did see already. The Chiefs at home, taking on the Detroit Lions. This is such a weird matchup for week 1. I don't know who thought this was a great idea. Like, personally, I just don't see the intrigue. I don't see the storyline. I don't see what really grabs the attention of the casual audience here. I understand that Patrick Mahomes is must-see television. I understand that everyone's going to watch this game regardless. I get that. And I understand that you may even want to put the Lions over by having them play the Chiefs in the first game of the year. I just think there's better matchups and more interesting matchups to get the league year started. I would have went with the Bills or the Bengals or maybe the Eagles with the Super Bowl rematch, or even the Chargers. That's not to say the Lions stink. I definitely don't think that. They can score points. I think that's going to make this game somewhat exciting on the field. I just feel like there's a lack of storyline. But I will say that I think the Chiefs come out and I think they win this game. I think they show the difference between a team on the rise in the Detroit Lions. I think they're on the rise, but they've got a ways to go and they've got a lot to prove. The Chiefs are going to come out like the champs they are. They're going to layeth the smack-a-downeth on the Detroit Lions. I think this is like a high-scoring game, and the Chiefs pull away late. I'm going to say something like 40-28 for Kansas City. That's going to be my prediction right now. Mahomes puts on a show in week 1. Maybe that's perhaps why the NFL wants this game, because they feel like Mahomes can put on a show. That could be another reason. The Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons is slated as the top game for the early slate. The early slate of Sunday. And, of course, the league starts September the 10th on the traditional Sunday football action. September the 7th is the Thursday. Now, Carolina, Atlanta, Bryce Young's first game. How is he going to look? Right? Bryce Young and this new coaching staff, Frank Reich, and they got to go to Atlanta, a rival's house. Desmond Ridder, we're going to see a look at him and how he looks with Bijan Robinson. Probably like the two most exciting prospects for a lot of people. Bryce Young versus Bijan Robinson. Really love that intrigue to this game. I think this game is going to be real tough to pick right now, especially. But given the fact that Bryce Young is a rookie, it's his first NFL action, Atlanta, I feel, is a different animal to take on in the first week. They can bring so much in the first game that you're not prepared for, because Arthur Smith is extremely creative offensively. They're going to run the rock really well. I love their offensive line. I think they're really going to have one of the best running games in football. And then defensively, I think their veteran additions will prove early to be very substantial for them. So I'm going to go with Atlanta, actually, in this game to steal this one. I think it'll be really close, but I'm going to go something like 24-21 for the Atlanta Falcons. I think it will be a really good game. It could go either way, but I'm going to go with the home team here with the Atlanta Falcons. Let me know your guys' predictions in the comments as well. We got the Houston Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, you gotta be kidding me. CJ Stroud in his first NFL action likely is going to be playing in this game, and he's going to be taking on the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, that it's not quite the same as playing Ed Reed and Ray Lewis, but still, like, the Baltimore Ravens, like just that team in Baltimore, which is deceptively one of the toughest places to play. You got to play Lamar Jackson. DeMeco Ryans' defense has to prepare for that in week one. And then What is Zay Flowers going to look like? What's Odell going to look like? I'm just most intrigued about what Baltimore is going to look like offensively. Then you also have the intrigue of new coach for the Texans, new quarterback for the Texans, a lot of young players for the Texans. So I think this is likely going to be one of the blowouts of week 1, unfortunately for Texans fans. I don't mean to be mean or anything. I just feel like Baltimore really good at the start of the year. Harbaugh always has them ready. They're amazing in preseason, and that carries through in week 1. I think Baltimore wins like 30 to 16. I'm going to say 16. The Cincinnati Bengals take on the Cleveland Brownies. The Dog Pound. This is the Battle of Ohio. And this should be a really good game. And this could be one that surprises a lot of people. Last year, the Bengals came out. They were very slow. They didn't play well early in the year. I think a lot of that had to do with Joe Burrow's health. We kind of came to learn that a little bit later in the year. Deshaun Watson, what's he going to look like in his first game of this year? Hopefully he looks like the player that they intended on getting when they signed the guy and traded for the guy. Now, Cleveland, I feel like they could, make this a real good game, especially at home with those fans. They're going to be excited for this year and the prospect of this year. They got a new defensive coordinator. How's that going to look with Schwartz out there? Of course, we know their offense. We know what they're going to do. They're going to run the ball. They're going to do their thing. Cleveland plays Cincinnati extremely well. And just going off the vibes of last year, Cincinnati did not start the year very well. I'm actually going to pick Cleveland right now. I could totally change my pick. I'm very high on the Bengals, so don't take this as a slight. I just feel like Cleveland is one of those teams, especially Stefanski's Browns, have played the Bengals really well. So I'm going to take them at home in week 1. Deshaun Watson has a coming out party, really good game, and they look like a different team this year, which I think could be the case. Then we have the Jacksonville Jags at the Indianapolis Colts. I think this is an easy opener for Jacksonville to get their feet wet a little bit and to work up to that contender status that a lot of people think they're going to bring this year. I think that Trevor Lawrence has a nice little day in Indianapolis, a nice dome start for them. Calvin Ridley gets comfortable in the offense. Now, what am I intrigued with Indianapolis? Of course, Anthony Richardson, is he playing or is he not playing? This would be a really good opportunity to play Gardner Minshew because, of course, it's the Jacksonville Jags. And honestly, in week 1 of the 2023 NFL season, I think Gardner Minshew gives them a better chance of winning. I'm just going to be honest with you. But I will say that would be a pretty interesting storyline opportunity. The Colts, though, new coaching staff, all that stuff. I think this is a real good battle. I think this is actually could be a pretty close game. But I'm just going to take Trevor Lawrence at the end of the day to come through. And I think this is going to be one of those games where it's a division rivalry and Jacksonville pulls it out late, kind of like unexpectedly. They're going to be a big favorite. The Colts are going to hang in there, but Jacksonville's going to come out on top. Then we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Minnesota Vikings. This is kind of like that sleeper game, honestly, on the schedule. Like, this could be really entertaining depending on what we get from Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and the Bucs offense. The Bucs, I do feel like, are going to try to grind away victories all season long, though, and you just can't do that in Minnesota. You're going to have to go out there and score points. So this could be a game where Minnesota's defense looks a lot better than we think it could be all year, or the Bucs offense could look a lot better than we think it could all year, just because, like, the Vikings defense was so terrible last year, it inflated the teams that played them offensively. For the Bucs, we could be looking at them saying, well, their offense looks really good this year. Like, I love the rhythm, the play calling, the protection, everything's nice. But it could just be that the Vikings defense still stinks. But it could also be that, hey, Baker stinks, the Bucs stink, and the Vikings defense got a lot better with Brian Flores overnight. And if that's the case, the Vikings could be the real deal. I have the Vikings winning. It's a real tough place to play in Minnesota. Cousins, Jefferson, they're going to be ready to roll offensively. I think they'll have enough for the Bucs defense, and I think they'll win the game. I'm going to say they score 27. I'm going to say 27-20 over Tampa Bay in week 1. Then we got the Tennessee Titans at the New Orleans Saints. This is I think this is going to be the grinded out game of the week. Like, this could be a 12-10 type of game. Derrick Henry, the Titans, they're going to try to run that rock. They don't have a prolific passing game, but I think their defense is going to be really good, and I think that means Derek Carr struggles in his first outing as a Saint. I think it's going to be interesting to see who's playing for the Saints offense. Is Michael Thomas in the lineup? Is Alvin Kamara playing? There's so many questions still. I'm going to go with the Saints because they're at home. I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans won this game, but I'm going to lean towards the Saints just for this video's sake. And I'm going to say 16-13 New Orleans in a real low-scoring game that goes down to the wire. And the next game is the San Francisco 49ers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, this game's in Pittsburgh. Kind of a deceptive, tough test for the 49ers because they probably won't have Brock Purdy. It's going to be a very good defensive team in Pittsburgh, but we don't often see any crossover Shanahan playing Tomlin and that sort of matchup. So it's going to be something we don't often see. It's obviously an AFC versus NFC game. It's one we don't usually see in week 1. Kenny Pickett, what's he going to look like? This offensive line, new and improved for the Steelers. I think it's going to take time to mesh. That's not good news when you play San Francisco's pass rush with Javon Hargrave now added to the mix. I like the Niners here. I just think they're the better, more complete team. I think typically, last year they did not play well in week 1. I think that had a lot to do with the monsoon and Trey Lance being not very good. I think that if this is Sam Darnold, at least they have an experienced guy at quarterback. If it's Brock Purdy, I think this is an automatic dub. But I'm going to take the 49ers. I just feel like they're the better team. And they have a lot of chemistry as well. Something that I don't think Pittsburgh has as much, especially on that offensive line front. Then you have the Arizona Cardinals at the Washington Commanders. I think this is the worst game of the week, just looking at it here. The Cardinals stink. I'm going to go with Washington. Not much really intrigues me here, other than Eric Bieniemy in his first game as the play caller of the Commanders. What does the new quarterback Sam Howell look like for Washington? Who's playing quarterback for Arizona? How does Jonathan Gannon's defense look in week 1 for Arizona? So there's a few things that intrigue me, but I think Washington at home should be able to pick up the win there. Then we got the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. This one's going to have a lot of eyeballs on it because it's Justin Fields. A lot of people expecting a big jump from me. If you've been watching the content as of late, you know that I'm not in that camp. And I'm not going to try to hate any more. That will come more throughout the offseason, Bears fans. Don't you worry. I know you clicked on this video just for that. And then you got the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love. And Jordan Love's first game as an NFL starter. So actually the Bears have the more experienced quarterback in terms of NFL starting action. I think the Bears, in terms of their offense, can give the Packers defense some issues. They are going to get a test in terms of Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, Lucas Van Ness, a good pass rush, Kenny Clark. This is going to be a good game. I really don't know who's going to win, but for the sake of just being fun, I'm going to say Chicago wins the game at home because Aaron Rodgers has officially left the Packers and now begins the reign of the Bears beating the Packers all the time. So why not go with that? Bears are at home and the monsters of the Midway take the victory. Then we got the Las Vegas Raiders. And the Denver Broncos are at home in Mile High for their 12th home game of the season because they have way more home games than any other team for some reason every year. I don't know, at least it feels that way. The Raiders play their, I guess, Josh McDaniels' old team. I think they swept them last year. So there is some intrigue there. And then you've got, Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, Tyree Wilson now in the mix, taking on Russ. Can Sean Payton put together a game plan early in this season to take advantage of this Raiders defense that stunk last year? And also, can Russ play better? You've got the Denver defense that I think's a little overrated, but it's solid. I just love the Raiders offense, and I think they're going to hit the ground running in this game. And my biggest question is, I don't know if Denver's offense is going to hit the ground running. Like, I don't know. I have a lot of questions. So despite this game being in Denver, I'm actually going to pick the Raiders just because they beat them both times last year. There's the Josh McDaniels factor. I think he really hates the Broncos. And then I think the Raiders offense is just going to be a handful for a lot of teams. And I think that's why they win this game. So I'll take them. I'm going to say 28-24 Raiders. Then we've got the Miami Dolphins and the Chargers. This is low-key an excellent game. It's Tua versus Justin Herbert, okay? So that's the draft, right? Back-to-back picks. Got the Chargers at home. It's the West Coast versus the East Coast. Miami versus the LA team. And both teams will be healthy at this point, so you don't got to worry about Tua. You don't got to worry about Joey Bosa or Keenan Allen staying healthy. Hopefully, J.C. Jackson's back in the lineup for the Chargers. I like the Chargers here. I understand the Chargers don't really have a home field advantage. I think they played last year, and I think the Chargers won. I could be mistaken. But I think the Chargers won, and I think they do it again. I think there's something about this Herbert chip on his shoulder with the Miami Dolphins and proving that he was the right pick in this matchup. I think he's going to ball out in this game, and Miami fans are going to be let down by their week 1 performance. I also think the Chargers defense, when healthy, is pretty talented, especially against the pass, and Miami has proven to not be a good running team. So I'm going to take the Chargers, but there is some real good intrigue to the Brandon Staley versus Mike McDaniel. They know each other very well. There was a good game last year, and then, of course, Herbert versus Tua. Then you got the Philadelphia Eagles and my New England Patriots. This is the Tom Brady thank you game. This is a big game for the Patriots Nation out there. I think the fans are going to be rowdy. It's going to be lit. It's going to be fun. I think this is going to be a great game. I think New England is the underdog in this game, quite obviously, playing the NFC representative, NFC champs in that Super Bowl. And Philadelphia, a lot of experience. Their offense is basically fully intact from last year. New England's is not. New England has new pieces, a new scheme, new offensive linemen, new receivers, so a lot of new. Don't know if that necessarily helps them because the Eagles can't really scheme anything up to stop them because they don't really know what Bill O'Brien's offense is going to look like. Or if that hurts them because they don't really have that chemistry. We'll have to see. Defensively, though, I think New England is really good, and I think this is a huge test for New England's defense right away, right off the bat. Gonzalez, is he going to take on A.J. Brown right from week 1 and just say, hey, kid, go get it? How are they going to defend Jalen Hurts? I think the deciding factor in my mind right now is, despite the Tom Brady vibe and the home field advantage and the energy in the building, I don't have a lot of faith that Belichick is going to slow down Jalen Hurts running the ball, and I think that's going to backbreaker them in certain moments in the fourth quarter. I think New England hangs around in this game. I think this game is going to be really competitive. But I'm going to take the Eagles, and I'm going to say it's 30-24. 30-24 Philadelphia. Really good game, but the Patriots just don't have enough answers for everything the Eagles offense can do. I think it will be the best offense in the league. Then you got the Los Angeles Rams at the Seattle Seahawks. This is kind of low-key a good game, but I expect Seattle at home to take care of business. I think this is a statement game for them. A lot of people will be building up, Stafford's healthy, McVay, Donald, Kupp, all those main pieces are there. People are going to be excited for it, right? This is a big game, but I think Seattle comes out and I think they take care of business. I think they run the football on the Rams. I think that sets up their play-action game. Metcalf, a couple big plays, no Jalen Ramsey there any longer. And Jackson Smith and Jigba should be a contributor too. And the Seattle defense, I think, is going to get some pressure in this game, which will make fans very happy because they didn't get a lot last year. Sunday Night Football, you got the Dallas Cowboys and the New York G-Men. This is a classic. This is like 2006 Eli versus Tony Romo. Gives me the throwback vibes. Looks like 10, 11-year-old Mitch getting pumped for this one. But we've got Dak Prescott versus Daniel Jones. Last year, the Cowboys, if I remember correctly, beat them in both games. I could be wrong, but I think they did. And I think Dallas, just their pass rush was a real problem for the Giants. I think that could be the same thing. You've got Cooks and Gilmore, 2 pros coming in for Dallas. You've got new additions to the Giants. Darren Waller should be healthy. You've got Bobby Okereke, I can't say your name. You got a lot of new things, okay? New York. I mean, just good stuff. America's team, America's city, it feels like. I'm going to go with the Cowboys, though. I think the Cowboys are going to be legit. I think they make a statement week 1. I think the Giants are going to be a good football team. I don't think they're going to be on the level of Dallas. I think Dallas's pass rush and their ability to throw the ball with all the weapons they have, I think that's going to win them this game. I think the Cowboys' defense rises to the occasion and wins them this game. Then Monday Night Football, you got the Buffalo Bills, the New York Jets. This one's interesting. Obviously, Buffalo struggled with the Jets last year. At least it felt that way. They did lose one game to them, and that's what makes this so interesting. Buffalo has tried to make some adjustments to their offensive line, to their toughness, to their grittiness. Of course, you've got Aaron Rodgers at home. This could rather be a big deal, or this could be a huge fall on their face. I could see it going either way. Buffalo, for that reason, is going to be very motivated to come out here and play very well. But something about this is telling me to pick the Jets. My opinion may change by the time we get to September, but for now, I'm going to pick the Jets. I feel like their defense matches up very well with Buffalo. They played them exceptionally well last year, and I think Rodgers is going to have some good moments in this game. Some nice throws, some indefensible passes, some throwback Aaron Rodgers, and Jets fans are going to be ecstatic on a Monday night that they pull off a 20-17 last-second field goal victory over the Bills Mafia. So, guys, those are my Week 1 predictions. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm having fun with this. Don't take the picks too seriously. But overall, man, this Week 1 schedule looks like one of the best we've seen in a long time. I'm exceptionally pumped for the Patriots and the Eagles. I think the Jets and Bills is going to be great. And what's another game I really like? I really like the Browns and the Bengals as a sleeper game. Thanks, guys, for watching. It's Mitch. Gronk, spike the like button. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.